Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Uncorked podcast. I know it's been a while, but we finally got back around to jumping on to talk about some whiskey for a couple hours, maybe. And we've got some pretty fun drams to drink tonight and talk about. We're gonna get, I don't know, knee deep or so into discussions about age statements and just kind of where we are with whiskey and our journey and some where our experiences have brought us in that regard with particularly older age statements, but how they kind of compare to to some of our other experiences and maybe how we kind of sort through those as we think about what we like and what's our favorite and what's the best and that sort of thing. So that's what we're planning on getting into today. Hopefully, it comes out to be pretty interesting. Um, it is just our kind of experience and where we are right now. There's people out there with way more experience than us with, particularly some of the age statements we're drinking tonight are
Mm,
pretty crazy, mostly courtesy of the Thompson brothers and them putting out some pretty good stuff for what, relatively speaking, affordable prices, quote unquote. but um, but yeah, we got Kevin back. It's been what, maybe a year or so since you've been on.
yeah, it's gotta be last spring at the earliest, I think,
Yeah,
sounds
yeah, it's
about
got
right
to be getting
anyway.
close.
But, thank you. Thank you for having me back. It's always a good time, so,
No,
uh,
sorry it took so long
no, it's
to get
alright.
you back here. But how you been? How's whiskey been treating you? And
Good. Yeah, nothing. Life's been good. Whiskey has been lately, yeah, definitely, I would say last fall, or I should say, sort of like you, spring, summerish, kinda took, a bit more of a break, kinda focused on, um, some, kinda getting back into shape a little bit. Took advantage of the summer a little bit more. Did some golfing and that kind of thing. So definitely was drinking less even than I usually did in that kind of summer, late spring area. But as usual, snow comes around, cold weather. Um, Kind of get trapped indoors a little bit more. Start feeling like you want to get a little cozy, pour a dram. So whiskey's kind of come back. Been enjoying a lot of good stuff the last 5 6 months. So yeah, definitely firmly in the swing of things at the moment. So
yeah, you guys in the Midwest there have been getting absolutely hammered with winter this year. So
January sucked. It was
yeah,
less than 10 degrees almost all month. It was horrible. But
yeah,
today
yeah,
was 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So balmy.
yeah,
Went outside without a coat on. It was nice.
yeah, yeah. I know. I I have like brief moments being from that area and experiencing that myself where I feel bad and then but it goes away really quickly when I look outside and see that it's 72 and sunny.
You son of a.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Um, well, we
There are
are,
good. There are good things too.
yeah, we are, let's talk about, I guess let's start talking about, whiskey. We can, I don't know if we need to keep people in suspense. We can tell them what we're drinking. What do you have some, like, quote unquote warm up dram in your glass?
I do. I do. I'd say it's a pretty nice warm up, but compared to what we may be drinking in a little bit, it may pale a little bit. Um, but this is a pretty old bottling. It is actually a gift from you. But this is something that they've brought back. But this is one of the original bottlings. This is an Ardbeg 17, 40%. But this is a late 90s bottling. So
Hmm.
this is not one of the the comeback bottlings from the last few
Yeah,
years.
still
And
see those
it's
sitting on the shelf every once in a
Oh yeah,
while.
they're all over the place in Chicago. Um, no, yeah, fantastic dram, but should be leading into some pretty nice stuff anyway. So
Yeah, I should say we are, well, at least the first few, the
mm,
2 stars of the show today, are naturally low ABV, so that's why we're at least starting out with some lower stuff.
yeah,
I've got the higher the highest age stated thing that I had that was a lower ABV is a bottle of Glengoyne 21 that I bought way back in the day that may at one point have been the most expensive bottle I had ever owned or that I owned on my shelf. Um, that might be true. I gotta have to think about it a little bit more. But I kind of sat around unopened as, I wouldn't even say it was because it was a special occasion bottle. It was I think I just moved on from the idea of 43% whiskey so fast.
Mhm.
Um, thanks to the YouTube community and things like that, that kind of hung around. And so I opened it less than half the bottle. It's been open for a little while now, though. Was going to review it last year when I was doing all those 43 percenters, and
Mhm.
just never just ran out of steam on that. So never got around to it. But yeah, that's where we're starting out with
Ooh, nice color on
tonight.
that.
I'll do a quick cheers.
Absolutely. Cheers. Once again.
This is a really nice one. It's you might be able to pass that off for 46. I don't know, probably not. It's a little soft, but it's got a really nice, even flavorful sherry character. It is a good whiskey. I do enjoy it. It's in that category of whiskey that kind of my eyes kind of dart past the your kind of your standard quote unquote standard sherried bottles. I kind of talked about that in my last video, just kind of getting more into some sherried whiskeys lately, but
Mhm.
it is pretty enjoyable. How's the Ardbeg?
Ah, it's it's kind of all the good things you want out of Ardbeg 10. It's oilier, a little bit softer, a little bit more. You got to be a bit more careful with it, but it's billowing. But yeah, it's got the lemon, it's got the citrus. Um, the smoke isn't too band-aidy, but it's identifiably kind of an Ardbeg brand of smoke. Um, present, but not overwhelming. Yeah, it's just really nice. It is. It's always been I've been a big fan of this one. Absolutely.
Good, good. Well, we're gonna be following this up at some point,
Mhm.
um, over the next hour or 2 with some higher age statement ones. One I have reviewed on the channel, had a difficult time even finding words to describe it because I haven't had too many 40-plus-year-old whiskeys, but, uh, Thompson Brothers released this. This was bottled in October 2024, so I probably got it either late 2024 or early 2025. It's the Thompson Brothers TBBSW 40-year-old. It's a blended Scotch. I was gonna look up the email that they sent out on it, but they do believe a good portion of this was like 1980s Bowmore.
Yeah.
So this was, I believe, this was a single cask. It's a refill, but of a blended Scotch. So it was blended. The whiskey had aged for some period of time. They blended it and then they put it back into the cask, and it sat in that cask for 40 years. So, um,
Yeah, because they didn't know how old it was before, right? It
right,
wasn't
they
kind of
didn't
like a
know
random.
they don't know for sure what the components that went into that blend were, but it sat in the cask it was in for 40 years. So there's probably stuff that's maybe a little older than that.
Mhm.
Um, my
And
thoughts on that whiskey are already out there, but
and he
yeah.
has been generous enough to send me a 2-ounce sample, which we've we did half of it previously, and now I'm finishing this one off tonight. So.
And then a more recent release, one that when I got the email, I think I immediately sent you a message like, "Oh my god, look at this." And we decided we couldn't pass up on it, so we split the bottle
Mhm.
because it is about
Yeah.
probably ended up paying about $900 for this thing. But yeah, this is a 52-year-old Ben Nevis from the Thompson Brothers as well. This is from 1973. Um, the Thompson Brothers, that's a 40.4% natural cask strength. and this is 2 casks, I believe, and it's at 40.1, so I'm kinda guessing one of those casks might have might
Yeah,
have dipped below
I
40.
believe because they did a YouTube video about it. They said one of them was less than 40. They had to
Okay,
blend
yeah,
it with another one to get combined above 40 so they could sell it as whiskey.
yeah. So, both Kevin and I are huge Ben Nevis fans, particularly from the 1996 variety and,
Yeah.
anything, even some of the younger stuff. I've had some really nice, like, younger Ben Nevis bottlings as well,
Yeah.
um, but that was just like when else are you gonna get to taste something that's 52 years old from your favorite distillery and it not be like 10,000, $20,000 or something like that? So, I could have made a fancy decanter for it and all that stuff and called up the crystal companies and made a whole big deal about it, but, probably sold it for probably as cheap as they could reasonably do it. So,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
a once felt like a once in a lifetime thing. So,
Yep.
we took the
Big
plunge
big
and
thank you to Phil and Simon Thompson for trying to keep things reasonable. We appreciate
yeah.
it.
Yeah, so definitely gonna be up there, even just the half bottle, in terms of top shelf liquor here, but, not too many things on my shelf that surpass that. But, I did take a little sip of it when I kinda poured out your half into, the other bottle. I couldn't resist taking a little sip, and that was pretty much the neck pour out of it, I guess, but, um, what I tasted was promising. We'll leave it at that.
Excellent.
But,
Yeah, I have not tasted it yet, but tonight it'll be first experience.
cool. Well, while we while we could sit there and stare at these, oh yeah, I'll get this out of the way now, but I had bought these blenders glasses back in the day, and they're supposed to be for really old, low ABV whiskeys, and I almost never use them, especially since when you wash them, they get all these, like, water spots all over them, and they're a pain to clean. So it's, I almost never use them, but, I was like, "Well, this is supposed to be what they're made for." Oh, you didn't even know you had one.
With the same thought, same idea.
Oh, awesome. But
I've
yeah.
debated. I'm like, "Yeah, let's pull it out." Like I say, I rarely use it, so give it a
Yeah, did you
shot.
actually get yours from, like, a legitimate, like, store in the UK? That's the only place I could
Yeah,
find
I
it in
think
the
I
UK.
added it on to, like, a whiskey exchange
Uh,
order at one point a couple years ago or something like that. I think
yeah,
I got it.
I saw how much they cost, like, to buy it from a shop in the UK, so I think I got, like, 4 of mine from, like, Alibaba.com or
Yeah.
whatever the Chinese Amazon was, and it was,
Sure.
like, $16 for 4 of them, and
Okay, yeah.
they just came, like, in a block of styrofoam with tape wrapped around it, so, yeah, I mean, they hold whiskey, hopefully there's not, like, lead in the glass or anything, but,
Yeah,
uh
right.
but, yeah, that's funny, I didn't know you had picked up one of
Yeah,
those,
I've had
but
one for a long time. I've used it
okay,
maybe 3 or 4 times
hmm,
in, like, 4 years, so
yeah, okay, yeah. Cool, cool, cool. Well, let's get talking about whiskey generally speaking. So,
absolutely.
obviously getting to the point of I don't know how to put this, but you have a 40-year-old, 52-year-old whiskey, 20, 30, whatever, um, kinda knowing what your expectations are for that bottle. I think that's really important. I think that's kinda what I wanted to explore today and just, like, how
Yep,
do we think about the whiskeys we have in our glass? Because right there, 40 essentially 40%. We don't drink that strength of whiskey. Now they're, more concentrated flavor, quote unquote, but they are still softer whiskeys
yep.
compared to the 57, 60% ABV whiskeys we often are drinking. So, if you could kind of describe where you feel like you are just in terms of your spot in your whiskey journey, which is I know some people feel is cringe. I agree, but it's the best. It's the only way I know how to describe what we're trying to describe. So wherever you are in your whiskey journey, just I'm not gonna like lead you any more than that because it's kind of like tell me about yourself, and then you find
Sure.
out what's important to that person based on how they describe themselves, right? So
Yeah. Yeah,
if you could
absolutely, yeah. So I'm,
go ahead.
one of the famed, sort of, COVID, entrants into the whiskey scene. Me and you had been talking about it, I think, a little bit maybe before, um, but I didn't take. And I maybe bought a bottle or two or something before. I actually remember I bought like a 20-year-old Canadian
As a
whiskey, like
Pendleton
for
or
a bachelor
something.
party the year before, like
Yeah.
not knowing what it was. It was just I wanted a nice bottle of whiskey to bring to this bachelor party, and it was kind of incredible. So I'm like, okay, maybe there's something here. Of course, I was a big Parks and Rec guy, so wanted to explore the Lagavulin and stuff, as cliche as that is. Um,
Whatever
and then
works.
yeah, and then COVID hit. That my store got shut or locked down. Um, both everything and nothing to do, kind of all at the same time. Um,
Yeah.
and I know you had been in whiskey for a year or two, and again we've been talking about it. So I'm like, all right, well, send me some stuff and we'll start. And that we kind of got from there. My entire sort of whiskey career, me and you have been meeting up for bi-monthly Zooms and doing like blind tastings.
Mhm.
Um, and then of course I started buying a ton of my own stuff and sending new stuff, and we've been sending each other stuff back and forth every month, drinking stuff every month since then.
Yep.
So that I think has really accelerated. Um, One way that I kind of have thought about it, and I think it kind of fits. I know you hear about, especially in America, about these companies that are trying to figure out ways to like fast age their whiskey.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
like they're trying to have like whiskey that's like 6 months old, but make it taste like it's 20, and they're doing
Yeah.
all these weird stuff to it.
Sonically aging
So,
and all that. Yeah,
yeah,
some weird
exactly.
stuff like yeah.
Kind of feels like that. That's what it was just how quickly there was no really onboarding, not really for me.
Mhm.
Started out with Lagavulin 16, and then before too long, we were up into the 46s and cask
Yeah.
strength stuff, and it was kind of going crazy immediately, and it's been like that now for 5 6 years. So
Yeah,
um,
I think we're kinda coming up this spring and probably 6 years of sending boxes back and forth. Because I think the first one I sent to you was I had gotten to Denver, and that was in May, end of May, or is it June? May or June
mhm,
2020, so, um, and then it took a little while for you to kinda get your a collection up enough to send boxes back, but, um,
yep.
yeah, I was actually gonna it had crossed my mind and I forgot, but I remember you sending me a message, like a text at some, like, random night, and it was like, "I think I get it."
Oh,
And it was
really? Okay.
and it was like something clicked or something like that, and "This is amazing," or something, and then
Mhm.
that was kind of off to the race. I was gonna scroll back, 6 years, I guess, or 6 years, whatever it's been. But, not that we are massive texters, it probably wouldn't take that long. But, yeah,
Uh,
it's just funny that you mentioned that because I was thinking about that the other
I
day.
did have to make a new Facebook profile like 2 years ago, so I don't know if you have it anymore.
Oh.
That old account probably doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, then, maybe I would've wasted my time. Yeah, okay. That's right. You had a mishap with Facebook and
Yeah.
account access and all that. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I'd have to look back.
Yeah, all my old old conversations are gone, unfortunately.
I still have the thread, it's under Facebook user, but yes.
Oh, okay. There you
Yeah,
go.
because one of the
That's
last message you sent me on that is when you stumbled upon our Russell's Reserve 15, and,
it.
when I was like,
And Woodman's. It
yeah,
just
wouldn't yeah, the whiskey of the
I
pretty much
still
the unanimous whiskey of the year that year.
I
It
still
was
remember
kinda
like,
like
"God damn it." All I have to
yeah,
do.
I know, I hate that. Actually happened to me today.
Did it? Holy shit.
No, I went so oh, this is a side quest,
Mhm.
but, I went to go get the Sierra Nevada Bigfoot, barley wine style ale that you had recommended me for a sipper along with your whiskey, and
Mhm.
of course, had to walk down the
Yeah,
whiskey aisle,
why wouldn't you? Of course.
and, that, bottle of Kilkerran 16 that they didn't have when I went to get it for you was sitting there on the shelf, like, "Son of a"
Nice.
and,
Okay.
so I was like, should not. I don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And I looked up. I usually don't rely on whiskey base for like reviews, but sometimes in a pinch, I'll do that. And so my whiskey of the year 2023 was the Kilkerran 16,
Mhm.
and whiskey base had this last year's slightly higher rated than that one. Um, again, I was just looking for an excuse. I was looking for permission to do it, basically.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Any trigger.
'Cause otherwise I don't put a lot of stock in, like, whiskey-based reviews, 'cause you actually read the reviews, there's some pretty interesting opinions under some of those bottles, but
On the
yeah,
internet? No.
yeah. So, anyway, there's some good ones too. There are some you do have to sort through some, again, interesting opinions, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
So, yes, I had that moment today. But let's get back to our whiskey journeys, but
of course.
so right now, if you were just gonna try to quantify, like, what kind of whiskey drinker are you today? Like, is there any way you could define that?
Yes, sort of. Yeah, so I would say so at my core, I would definitely say my comfort zone is in sort of 14 to 20 year age statements preferred. Um Casking doesn't matter. I usually don't go for like dark red sherry's cask stuff, but I certainly
Mm,
can. I do have them. Um and but I actually find myself right now trying to trend back towards, and historically we've had a lot of independent bottlings.
mhm,
I think I've actually been kind of in a mood of trying to check out more official bottlings, limited releases. Because I think I've gotten to a point where I'm kind of used to that experience of like a single cask of like this is what it is. It's elbows and all. And I've started to get a little bit more of appreciation of kind of like the elegance or the construction of some like official bottlings where they have all these stocks to work with. Um, I would say that's kind of in a slope where I'm at right now. Um, we certainly do drink 10, 12, and younger stuff. I do love Ardnaho, Ardent American. They're all doing amazing things. Um, but I find that as a general rule, younger than like teenage years is it's harder for things to stand out as interesting. As unfortunate as that actually is.
right, kind of been is it kind of like a been there, done that sort of feeling, or is it just kinda lack of trust in
No,
the
yeah,
tech?
yeah, definitely closer to been there, done that. Um, and I get the sense, and I was gonna kind of maybe talk about this a little bit later, and I still can expand upon it.
Mm,
But I think, like I said, I came so fast into this,
yeah,
and we just kind of went up and up and up, and pretty quickly I was drinking 24-year-old whiskeys, and I
yeah,
think if you're not like dedicatedly or dedicated on focusing on it, you can kind of train your palate to like almost ignore some of like the or maybe less astounding type of drinks. So
sure.
I think your palate can get used to like 18, 20, 24-year-old whiskey so that when you go back down, it's harder for your palate to like pick up on something that's interesting. Like
Lesson
everything just kind of starts to taste boring.
sure, is maybe a little less, layered or complex or however you wanna put it.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, yeah, I mean, certainly have had some pretty surprising younger whiskeys. I know you have too.
Mhm.
Um, no, that's interesting. That's probably about the way I would have described you. I know you definitely prefer, higher age statements, but you probably have more like young, new distilleries on your shelf than I do even.
Mhm.
So, you're certainly not a snob in that regard. But um, I was trying to think of an interesting way to describe where I am right now, and I kind of fell back on uh, well, actually, let me say this, kinda to, kinda obviously make a similar point. When I started this channel, I had these, like, great ideas of what this channel was gonna be, and I think as soon as I started, like, actually turning the camera on, I realized that there's just all these gaps for the same reason you mentioned. I just skipped just massive swaths of, like, whiskey that most people probably don't.
Mhm.
I mean, even, going back and kinda I had probably had most of the 10, 12-year-old introductory whiskeys from the official bottlings and things, but I kinda did this whole series of, like, going back to that 18-year, age statement, and because I also identified that as kind of where prices were really starting to shoot up. That was and it's kinda like, "Okay, if I'm gonna talk about this stuff, like, I need to have these reference points." And then last year, looking at my shelf and, like, I have all these 40, 43 percenters that I ended up with, I acquired at some point, you know,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, through various means, whether purposefully or someone leaving it at my house or, whatever.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I said, this is how most people start drinking whiskey. And I don't know. So I tried to take my mind and put it into a different mindset and kind of came at those as honestly as I could with like taking into account what they were and who they were for, trying to fill in some of those gaps. So I think I definitely know what you mean. Just kind of hit a point where you look behind you and you're like, man, I skipped over a lot of stuff, and I'm going to talk about things intelligently or completely. I should probably at least try to touch base with reality because all of that, either whether they're high ABV independent bottlings or higher age statement stuff or special
Mhm.
releases with weird casks or whatever they are, it was easy to like this bottle of Glengoyne sat on my shelf for multiple years, and I never really had any inkling to open it. It was never I had other special occasion bottlings that I was way more excited to open, and I kinda had to, like, force myself to, like, "Hey, I bought this. I've heard it's pretty good, and it is, it's tasty. Is it my favorite style of whiskey? No. Am I
Yeah.
gonna is it gonna fall out of my chair drinking it? No. But it's pretty damn good, and it is a good touch point for this kind of
Yeah.
style of whiskey, and I got in before I paid, like, $200. I think they're up around 300 now, if I'm
Yeah,
not
it's
mistaken.
crazy. I will say, just as an addendum, and you kinda brought it up, that the new distilleries are doing a really good job. I think a lot of those bottlings, the 6 and 7, 8-year-old kind of stuff that's coming out now,
Yeah.
um, I've got that McNean Huntress bottle that me and you both really like.
Yeah, One of Blind,
Uh,
yeah, for me, yeah.
like, every Ardnaho we've tasted has been fantastic.
Mhm.
That Clyde's, or was it the Clydeside, we both were pretty impressed by.
The Straub
Um,
Cross or whatever it was, or was that a different one?
uh, the Stop Cross, yeah, yeah, yeah.
The Straub Cross, yes, okay.
Um, and I actually find a lot more of those more interesting than even some, like, the more standard 10, 12 core
Mhm.
range stuff that's
That's true.
kind of the old guard.
Yeah, that might
So
be true.
I have a lot of optimism for kind of the up and comers. I think there's a
I
lot of
think
lot of good stuff happening.
yeah, yeah, I think there's I don't know this 'cause I'm not there, I'm not having these conversations with anybody, but it almost feels like there's almost this collective knowledge that's been building up where, like, these that I'm sure they're talking to each other and maybe
Mhm,
helping each other out, or even, like, Clydeside, they had a really rough opening, like, they weren't impressing a lot of people, and they seem to have turned that around. I think Glasgow Distillery kinda had the
oh, yeah,
same thing.
Glasgow, forgot to mention Glasgow. Glasgow's
Yeah,
killing it too.
yeah, and now it feels like some of these newer distilleries that are coming online seem to maybe be hitting hitting a little quicker, hitting higher notes with their releases,
Mhm.
provided that they're releasing them in enough quantity and at reasonable enough prices. Um, I don't know, was it Bike or Bikey or whatever's
Arbaki, yeah.
yeah, did you see their press release?
Yeah, they've got their inaugural whiskey's what, like 10,000 pounds or something crazy?
Well, there's a cheaper version that's like 250 pounds for 10 years. They just turned 10 years old. They haven't released any whiskey yet. Their
Oh, they haven't
inaugural
really
whiskey,
single, they
250
haven't really
pounds.
small, yeah.
Yeah,
It
250 pounds, and they do have a $10,000 or a 10,000 pound release. They're also sourcing some of it, because they're releasing like an 18-year-old and they've only been open for 10 years. So obviously some of it's sourced, but they released, they were, they introduced this at Davos. So like basically to like the richest people in the world, they had like
Mhm.
anyway, yeah, you can check out the press release on that. It's just kind of like, what are you guys doing? I mean, maybe it works for them. I don't know, but it just seems completely crazy that you're like 10-year-old whiskey, 250 pounds. And oh, by the way, we have this 10,000 pound offering
Yes.
for you if you would
Seems like
like
a
this
wild
one.
way to introduce yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, because they're a farm distillery, right? Like,
yeah,
that's
I mean, if it works for them, I try not to be.
like if they
It's
were
hard. It's hard when you care as much, but as I do about whiskey and the health of the industry and all that. But generally, I'm like, if it works and you make your money, then good for
yeah,
you, I guess. But
yeah,
it's
it's a
like, gee,
successful
like
business, yeah.
good good luck. I mean, I will
I
never
work
buy one.
mhm.
So if someone offered me a glass, I might refuse it. I don't even know. Just because it's just so ridiculous. Maybe they come back down to earth. I don't know if they're just gonna give McAllen a run for their money or what. Anyways,
That's wild.
pull a pull myself back from another rabbit hole. I was gonna try to use this weird, metaphor that seemed to make sense to me. I don't know if it's gonna make sense to everybody. It probably makes sense to you. But you know how in video games, some games, you play through it, and when you finish the game, you get the opportunity to do a new game plus.
Mhm.
You kinda play through the game again, but you have the knowledge and you kinda have some tools at your disposal. Like, the game is still harder, so it's not just super easy, but, um, I think that was kind of the best way I've been feeling lately. Like, I feel like I did the first pass through. Obviously, I didn't taste everything, didn't explore every nook and cranny.
Yeah, you didn't
It
do all the
felt
side quests.
Yeah, I didn't do all the side quests. There's all the different countries and all that because obviously American whiskey has been a part of our journeys as well.
Mhm.
But I kind of felt like, especially with this not buying whiskey for a long time and just kind of it's obviously changed the way I think about things a little bit and doing some reflecting recently on all that stuff as I kind of get the channel going again a little bit. It's kind of felt like my mind is still open to all the possibilities. I'm kind of coming back at things with maybe a little bit of a fresh perspective, like not starting over, but everything's open for um, reinterpretation with the information I already have. I
Okay,
don't know
yeah.
how true that is, but it's kind of the way I was feeling the other night of just like, I've got the young whiskey, I've got the old whiskeys, I've got the American whiskeys, the Scotch whiskey. I've got opinions on a lot of things.
Mhm.
Um, Whether they're good opinions or not, I don't know. It's not super important. I don't get too opinionated on the channel, but, just because, yeah, maybe my confidence level isn't there because 'cause I'm willing to have my mind changed, and, uh, and the internet's a scary place for 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 people like me who aren't ultra dug in on their, opinions, but, um, yeah, so I don't know. That was a really kinda cheap way for me to try to put it into simple terms. It's just like I'm kind of coming back through things again, just with a lot more information and
Yeah,
some better weaponry.
and I actually kinda like that analogy because I think there's another even aspect to it. Because the first time you play a game, you're sort of filled with wonder, you're kind of wandering into the unknown.
True, yeah,
But in the new game plus, you kind of don't have that mystery and fancy because you kind of know the lay of the land. So you do have to kind of almost make your own sort of
yeah. It's
discoveries and
it's less wandering, more, "I'm gonna go there and check it out."
yeah.
'Cause I didn't go there last time, so I'm gonna beeline my way there, and then,
Yeah, I
oh,
like
yeah.
that a lot actually. That holds a lot of water.
For that corner, yeah, that corner of the world destroyed me, and I just kinda left it alone and never came back, and now I feel a little more confident, I'll go
Now I'm
back and
back
check it out.
with all your
Yeah,
muscles
come
and
back yeah, come back with
your
my
Ragnarok
my huge
sword.
sword, yeah. Yeah, it showed up a skinny little geek and come back as a Greek god with a lightning hammer or something, yeah.
Remember
So,
me?
well, I'm glad at least my metaphor, uh, made
Yeah,
sense to
no,
you.
it was perfect. I loved it.
So, undoubtedly, we've drank a lot of different things. We found things that we really like, we don't like, as we talked about, like age statements, we've been all over the place, casks, we've
Mhm.
We've explored a lot of them. Never I don't think I've ever had a mezcal cask or a I don't think I've owned a Calvados cask either. The other casks I've seen, there's a lot of weird ones that you find that some of the bourbon distilleries do
Mhm.
that I just cannot possibly see how that tastes good, so I just avoid them.
Mhm.
But, when you're drinking these different whiskeys, whether young, old, bourbon, sherry, high ABV, low ABV, whatever,
Mhm.
does your mindset change a lot? Do you, like, have to get into, like, a zone for that particular style, or are you feel fluid enough that you don't really have to think about it?
So I think I do put my I do kinda set my mind space to a particular category, whatever category that is. Um, Although I think I've found during our blinds that it's better if I didn't,
Mm,
um, but it's kind of a human thing. It's like, okay, like, I know what I poured, so I your brain is gonna inherently have some expectation as to what you think that'll taste like.
sure.
Um, so then you can kind of ignore little quirks or little things here and there. You're like you're looking for the things you're expecting.
Mhm.
Um, and I do think in a lot of ways that that can limit your experience. But yeah, no, ultimately, I think it's kind of unavoidable, especially at least for me, to pour. You know, if I'm pouring some refill 10-year-old bourbon cask batches, I'm looking for those light, fruity, zesty, citrusy
Mm.
type things, um, and I think when you find what you're looking for, that can really make it a satisfying dram. But I think it can make it harder to find the crevices of what you're drinking. So, if that
So
makes
this
sense.
is
If I hopefully I
no,
answered the
yeah.
question.
No, you did. I was going to, kind of expand upon it, and, I d I don't know how much you think about this. I think once I probably didn't think about it a ton. I didn't have to,
Mhm.
um, but when you're putting yourself in that mindset, you're also on some level judging, and you're
Oh, yeah.
judging in comparison, right?
Mhm.
This is better than that. That was better than this. It might be quick, it might be really fast. Maybe you can kind of shove that out of your brain sometimes and just enjoy it or not enjoy it. Um, but how do you compare like young whiskey versus old whiskey? Like if you have a 52-year-old whiskey and a 7-year-old whiskey, are these really under the same umbrella? They're both whiskeys, the same with bourbon and scotch, right? They're not trying to be each
Yeah,
other.
it would
Uh,
never cross my mind to, again, unless it's like we're drinking them one after the other.
mm,
Um, I would, especially, especially, I'll tend to group things by like a general age bracket and then a general style. Um, but even then, like if I just like pour something and have it for like the first time and I'm taking a sip, let's just say it's just for example a Deanston 12 or something. Let's just say I've never had a Deanston 12. When I sip it, I really don't in my brain go, do I like this better than Glencairn 10? Do I like this better than Aaron
mhm,
10?
right.
It's either, do I like this a lot? And if I do, it's just going to be one I think about more.
Mhm.
And like I am sort of putting it above those, but I'm not like comparing it to them directly. It's just going to take up a bigger chunk of my brain space.
Sure.
Um, so so yeah, it's very rarely do I drink something and say this is better than that. Um, it's more of a, I've got so much room in my brain for things that I like, for things that are good enough to hold my attention, and it'll be there until it doesn't.
Right.
if
Fair
that
enough.
if, if that kind of makes sense. And then, especially once it gets older, that's kind of its own category, partially
Yeah.
because we have had less of them, so it's kind of a, um
Newer, it's a little shinier.
it's a little bit
It's
shinier, and then
more
again,
likely to
there's
be
just kind of less
surprised.
things crowding it.
Sure, sure.
That Bowmore 26 that we got, that SMOS that we got at Benny's a few years ago.
Hmm.
Um, I still remember that bottle. I probably will forever. Um, but
Well, I
I'm
didn't
not
get
going to
one.
remember. Like, there's been a lot of really good 10-year-old whiskeys I've bought, but I don't. I'm not gonna. I can't name all of them.
Yeah.
There's been so many of them. So yeah, it's a bit different how I think about young versus old versus, and in terms of how I compare them to their peers.
How does price come in? Because obviously, when you think older, you think more expensive. But as we were talking earlier with some of these new distilleries, sometimes just it doesn't, age and price don't always match one to one. If you
Sure.
paid more for something, like what are your expectations for that? Like, do you like? How do I want to ask this? I have like these hard questions written down, and
Yeah,
they're a
no,
little
I
clunky.
think I know what you mean. For for price, I definitely, so I would kind of rate it on two things. I think we all have just sort of we understand how sort of satisfying that was to drink. Like this,
Sure.
maybe you can't identify what it was or how it was, but like this is good or this is not
Mhm.
much, this is whatever. So A, you want that to go up, and then B, you also kind of just want something to latch on to as superb quality. Is this is this uh very elegant and pretty, like above other things of similar ilk, or is this got a funkiness to it that really kind of pushes it forward in your mind, or is there, you know,
So if I think
you
I
just
think what
kind
you're
of start to
saying
look
is,
for a hook, even if it's not a deliberate hook, um,
so
something
you
that
want it
makes
to
it
be
stand out.
memorable. You want it to be if you pay more for it, you wanna remember it.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. I think the most disappointing thing is to think back like, "Oh, yeah, I had that bottle that I paid a lot of money for. I
Yeah, I know.
haven't thought about that bottle in years," you know?
Mhm. Yeah, it was fine. Yeah.
Yeah, it was yeah, yeah, that 30-year-old Federer is a good bottle of whiskey, but I'll I talked about it in one of the review roundups,
Mhm.
and it's just like, yeah, it was pretty good bottle of whiskey, but I don't remember. I'll never wish I had another one or anything like that. It was fine. Um, okay, so yeah, I think that's probably a good way to put it because I think what we've probably had enough of them now to know that, look, not everything that has a high age statement is going to be like
For
face
sure.
melting, make you cry, anything like that. What you're probably looking for is, again, you're looking for something that is different. It stands out, whether it's a new flavor or different combination of flavors or texture
Yep,
or something, right? You just want it to stand out in some way, shape, or form.
yep, and
So at least
hopefully
you
it's
can,
also good.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, yeah. I mean, hopefully it's not memorable in a horrific way. Like
Yeah,
I'll never forget my bottle of Jura 12. That was just one of the most vile things I've ever drank in my life. But
for sure.
and I punished myself for buying it by drinking like the whole bottle. So it was um thinking I was being clever. That was another attempt to fill in a gap. And
Mm.
the one that backfired spectacular. I should have left that gap alone. Uh, so, but yeah, no,
Mhm.
that makes sense. All right, well, you ready to dip into these super old age stated single? Well, no, single malt scotches. This one's a blended scotch, but what do you
Yeah,
say we
let's dig in.
make people jealous? All right, just so if you're curious and you don't want to go watch my official review, which was a while ago now, again, it was probably a bad review because I didn't know how to describe it. So, there was a lot of things I was tasting, but, this is a TB BSW 1984, aged over 40 years, rested and bottled in Dornick, 40.4%. Alright, we got AYS here, which, is probably, age of the youngest spirit. That's March 1984, bottled October 2024, cast type is refill, but and again, they believe it to be a good chunk of 1980s Bowmore. So,
Mhm.
do, they have my tasting notes, so I guess we'll give it a little quick nosing and tasting and I'll let you embarrass yourself this time instead of me.
Oh boy. Okay.
But get your impressions of it at least.
Mm.
Yeah, the peat is obviously like, you're looking for the peat with the Bowmore, and it's there, but yeah, it's not what you would think with a
Yeah.
like an Isla, right? It's just completely something else.
Yeah, it's maybe this sort of, like, dirt layer on top of it, especially coming off the Ardbeg 17, which even that, it's not strong, but,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah,
a
earthy
little
for
bit more
sure.
integrated here. Again, it's almost a bit just like a dirty, maybe even slightly like, it's not quite sweaty, but
Yeah. You get the fruit too. Again, if you're thinking Bowmore, you find that kind of Bowmore tropical fruit, but it's like beyond overripe. It's
yeah.
just like it's just bad at this point, but it's still holding some of the sweetness. You can still tell it was fruit. It's
Mhm.
just gone like it's just like a liquid remnants of what was once a
Yeah,
mango or
it's
something.
completely desiccated or, you fruit that just been sitting in its
Deteriorated,
juices, and it's just
yeah. Yeah.
it's
With the
just
earthy it's like a maybe like you could even say compost, right? You maybe threw some fruit in there and then there's, the dirt and stuff, and it's just got this earthy, just like you said, dirty,
mhm.
but but yeah, there's an elegance to it. It's all put together really well.
Yeah, no,
Um,
absolutely, it's you can definitely tell that it's well constructed, there's no there's no corners, everything makes
yeah.
sense, but yeah, it's definitely a very unique picture that you don't get in anything that's not crazy like this.
I do like the glass, by the way. It seems to be
Hmm, yeah,
pushing it up a little bit more, but yeah, I
okay.
don't know.
Yeah, I've only got one that's got
Oh,
the Ben Nevis in it, so I had to make do with a normal Capita for this one.
yeah, it smells great. It smells complex. There's other stuff like
Mm,
find your leathers, your oak, your a little bit of spice in there.
yeah,
Um,
antique bookstore.
yeah, definitely got some old books in there,
Mhm.
but yeah, I mean, it smells fantastic. You can probably sit here and nose it for 20 minutes if you want, but I'm looking forward to giving it a taste. So
Heck
here
yeah.
we go.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone. Yeah, a little bit brighter than I would the palate's a little bit brighter than I would have thought the nose would be.
That fruit is coming through more. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the fruit is a bit more structured in the palate.
Yeah.
Um, definitely, you guys said that citrus, but yeah, still a little like dirty citrus. Again, it's you're a little sweaty, maybe even.
Yeah. It's got a little like candy bar that you dropped in the dirt sort of vibe
Mm,
to it. Yeah. Like a little chocolate. But
yeah,
yeah, you're right. There's just like this sweet tropical fruit, citrus fruit, whatever, like sweet orange, maybe if you want to go citrus, that like just kind of shines through all this other kind of heavier, I don't know, it's
yeah.
uh, phenolic, I guess. I don't know, it's fusty. Is that? I'm not sure.
I have
Um,
no idea.
it's yeah, I should probably look that word up before I try to apply it to nose. But yeah, it's you're definitely not going to find a
Yeah.
12-year-old whiskey that tastes like
No,
this.
and then, like I say, I know it's only 40%, but it's thick. There's definitely
Hmm.
finish lasts forever, mouthfeel. It's got all that oil from the barrels.
Yeah, I mean, that's where you notice it. Like, obviously, the finish, you're not gonna get that big crescendo, as I call it. You're not gonna get these fireworks. It's gonna be softer on the back end. There is still a finish, but it's just much more subtle, much more layered. But when you're kind of chewing on it, it's so oily and thick,
Yeah.
silky. That's, I think, the Thompson brothers are openly huge fans of these naturally low ABV casks because they like this concentration of flavors without
Mhm.
I'm sure they enjoy the big the big whiskeys on the second half too, but
Yeah.
it just yeah, it's,
I j I just got a little bit of a and this is what great whiskeys do. Just flash in my head a little bit, like an old used baseball glove.
right, you're supposed
Like,
to
the rawhide leather that's, like, faded. There's some dirt from again, it's old. There's dirt kind of rubbed off in it. Um, like I played baseball poorly as a child, but I played it. Um, and just that memory of being in the outfield because that's the only place that they would let me play. Uh, um, just screwing around with my glove because I was bored because we were kids and no one hit into the outfield. Um, yeah, just kind of brought that memory up. That was kind of cool.
I totally get where you're going with that.
Yeah, that's a contemplative
Yeah, you
game. So definitely
yeah, this is one
get you
you
to think
can't, like,
think about
you don't
that.
you wouldn't bring this to a bottle share with, like, a group of people or something. This is one that you can definitely drink with other people, but it's gotta be,
Yeah,
like, a calmer, like, everyone sitting down and
yeah.
focusing, otherwise
That's
a
why
lot
they're
of it
there.
just
They're
passes
there
away.
to drink the whiskey,
Yeah, yeah,
not to
yeah.
socialize as much.
I'd say don't bring it to a bottle share, and those are the bottle shares I'm used to going to, which
Yeah.
can be somewhat chaotic and just, 3 or 4 different groups of 2 or 3 people, yeah, in their own corners of the room, and then you kinda rotate, reshuffle the group,
Mhm.
and, a lot of cask strength stuff, but whatever, this would probably get drowned out pretty fast. But it is delicious. So while we're enjoying this, let me kinda
Mhm.
re-spark the conversation here.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
when we're talking high age statements, obviously, that's a relative term, and we kinda talked about, like, mindsets of well, you kind of answered this already, but, like, when does your mind kind of flip? What age statement is kind of where you're cut off for, "Hey, I'm gonna pay extra close attention to this. I'm gonna treat this maybe a little more with a little more reverence because of the number on the bottle."
Yeah, I would say there's kind of 2, um,
Okay, yeah.
the first one I would say, I think, I said before was like 14. 14 is seems to be to me just an extra step of maturity there. I mean, obviously, it can depend on the barrel, and there's a lot of factors. It's not always 14, but 14 for me is
Yeah.
kind of like,
It's not a
okay,
hard yeah, it's not a hard line.
here's
I learned that with, these new distilleries come out, "Our first 10-year whiskey." Well, it's not gonna taste any different than the one that was 9.5 years old that you released,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
6 months ago,
Um,
so
so yeah, 14 is kind of a step up, and then I would say 18 is kind of the next step up.
okay.
Where I think once you get to 18, things can get more unpredictable. Things are,
Hmm,
especially if they're,
right.
small batches or single casks or something. It's that's kind of where you start to find a lot of the really interesting, unique things that just don't exist kind of anywhere else. Because especially if it's like an official bottling, they're probably going to blend that note out, whatever it is. But we
Mm,
find it interesting.
sure.
Um, and then I think above 18, it's just more
But, yeah,
normal.
I'm
Normal
I'm
crazy.
guessing there is probably another line and there's somewhere where it's like, "Oh boy," 30 years or something, like, once there's a 3 I think that for me, that if there's a 3 in front of the number that require like, my brain's gonna,
Sure. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's gonna
Like
think a
you're
little
you're
differently.
expecting something different, but we're not
Yeah.
educated enough to know what.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably part of it,
Sort of a
yeah.
thing.
I don't know what to expect from this because it is, you know okay,
Yeah.
I'm fortunate enough to have a lot of, tried a bunch of 20-year-old, maybe 20 and 25. Again, not a massive amount, but enough to have, like, at least a little idea
Yeah.
of what's gonna happen.
Yeah, we've got a few. Yeah.
But once it's 30, the price is obviously gonna generally jump up, and it's like, you're really hoping that it's gonna do something different.
Yeah.
Now whether it does or not,
Yeah.
you
Exactly.
know?
Grab your attention in some special way.
Right. Um, so I kinda mentioned, like, kinda how price kinda comes into the factor, particularly when we're talking about older stuff. But can you s is there cutoffs for you, like, in your expectations when it comes to price, or is it much more, "I'm buying the bottle, and once I bought it, like, I don't worry about how much it was. I've already made that choice because I think that's the way I was for a long time, where it's like, I don't know, I already bought it. It's the money's gone. Like, I can be mad about it. I'm gonna probably just decide I won't buy that anymore. I won't buy it again, but
Mhm.
I don't know, kinda is it most people are especially these days are, they're like, where's the line of reasonable expectation for like a unique experience? Because again, whether a 35-year-old whiskey is the best whiskey you ever had, that's not really the point. It's, is it different? And is it different and still good? I think is what you're hoping for, as we kind of said earlier. So yeah, I don't know. How do you feel about that in terms of your expectations when it comes to the price question?
Yeah, in terms of a cutoff, I'm pretty comfortable, um, if it's $150 or less, as long as it's good, I'm not gonna be too torn up about it.
Right. It's like 100
Um,
pounds, somewhere in there, I guess would be kind
yeah,
of the,
yeah,
for our UK
um
listeners. I'm sure there are a ton of. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, once you get start getting above 150, I definitely get more critical about, okay, what is this? What am I, yeah, again, assessing what am I expecting from it, depending on the distillery. There's just more questions. Like Springbank, I'll still, that's not even a question. But
sure, yeah, yeah, you have to pay the
if it's
extra price, but
170
that's worth it
pound,
usually.
um,
Sure.
or not 170, $170, I don't know,
The
Glenlivet or
Brew
something
Cloudy
like
8,
that.
well,
Yeah,
Brew Cloudy 18 is what, 170, $180 here,
yeah,
so that's
I mean,
kinda,
that was a snap buy.
yeah,
Just because, again, it's just because you have the trust in the distillery that we have a lot of or at least
that's true,
enough
we know
experience
that,
with, we'll say,
yeah.
um, to know that that's going to be good.
Yeah,
Um,
it would be, and if it wasn't, it would be, like, an extremely disappointing, like, we would
yeah,
kn it would hit extra hard because it's a distillery that we're kind of trusting to like, "Hey, you're charging a lot for this bottle, you're charging more than your competitors,
yep,
like, but you're you, so I'm going to kinda give you the benefit of doubt," and
yep,
at least
yep.
the version that I've had, which are, like, the earlier bottles, um, yeah, I didn't regret what I bought, so I
Mhm.
was
Yeah,
pretty
no,
happy.
I've not regretted anything like that. Um, yeah, I mean, just as it gets more expensive, you get more and more critical. I think you're no matter what you buy at that level, you're kind of hoping for the same level of, again, uniqueness, quality, depth, richness, whatever.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that the more expensive it gets, you need something to kind of offset the increased level of skepticality that you now have. Whether it's the distillery, whether it's the age, whether it's the blender, the independent bottler, whatever it is. Um, and then yeah, I guess, well, once you get home and taste it, just hope that everything lines up.
I was trying to think of there's an interesting question here. You know, kind of probably you've read these questions, but
Mhm.
it's a bit of awkward later in the list. But when you say, "I'm going to," should I buy this bottle for this price? And
Yep.
you're kind of like, yeah, I want to. I think I'm going to do that. Are you doing that based on like the best case scenario experience that you believe you'll have with the bottle? Maybe like the average case, because like, or like, "Hey, it's gonna be at least this good, so I'm willing to pay that price." Like, kinda I don't know if my
Yeah.
brain's ever gone through that exercise before, it's probably done subconsciously, but, like, I'm guessing we kinda do that, like, where do we, when we're paying a
Yeah,
price,
I
what
would
are we
definitely,
expecting?
at least for me, I think a lot of it's subconscious. But I think we have, again, not that we have a ton of experience with a ton of different, the full gamut of what's out there,
Mm,
especially at higher age
man, that's
levels.
good,
But
that's good.
we've had a 20-year-old Glenlivet or something like that. So you kind of just think of something comparable like that, you kind of group together with that, and then it's like, okay, would I pay, like, even if this is better than that, but this is $50 more. Is that does that make sense in my brain
Yeah.
where I should where this is a buy? Um,
It was like the meme
so
where there's just
so
like
yeah, I would
equations
definitely
floating
say
in
it's
front of
an
everyone's
average
face.
case built on your history of similar experiences, whether that's 1 bottle or 100.
Sure,
You do the
sure.
best with what you've got.
What about
Um,
when there's like you've heard from maybe online people that you know and you trust well that, "Hey, this is really good." Like, does it stretch? Do you elevate it beyond maybe
I've
that point?
I have. I've definitely bought Roy's pure or well, bought bottles purely on Roy's recommendations.
Mhm,
To varying degrees. Usually it's pretty good or pretty close, but there've been a
mhm.
couple that have been, "Hmm, okay."
Didn't quite get
Yeah,
where you had
so
hoped.
I still generally trust Roy, palette and everything, but,
Mhm.
yeah, we're not always necessarily gonna be on the same wavelength, and I've get and it's up to me to figure out where the offset is as to, like,
Sure, yeah, if you're willing to.
what does he like about this that I don't, sort of a thing, but yeah, I would say if there's any voice on the internet that I trust, it would be him. Ralphie's I would trust Ralphie's palette, but I do have to be willing to sit through the videos, to get it, but we won't get into that here.
Sure,
Um,
sure,
we can
yeah, not all of his videos are super whiskey based or whiskey oriented,
yeah,
these days, but yeah, definitely his palate, if he says it's good, I've had pretty pretty good luck with it, but,
it's crazy.
um, yeah, I don't know, I think I think for me in that a kind of direct answer to that, I mean, obviously, I think since I've done the channel, I watch less whiskey tube.
Mhm,
I don't know why. I mean, it's not just because of the channel. It's, I think, a bunch of different reasons. I haven't been buying whiskeys, so I don't, I haven't been engaging as much. But I think I've started to just kind of trust my own math in my head a lot
yeah,
more. And it's more like, and again, I've kind of reached a point where I think I've always actually been this way though, where I don't, other than a few exceptions, I don't get super upset by buying a bottle of whiskey I don't like
mhm,
because A, there's always a chance I'll start to like it. That's happened,
that's true.
but also it's it's still information for me. It's still a reference point.
Yeah, that's data, yeah,
I mean, you wanna talk about bottles that you remember? Yeah, I can remember a lot of bottles that I just straight up didn't like, and I can think back to those, and I can, those stick in my brain, and it helps me with the big picture of trying to sort through this whiskey scene as it is. Um, so generally when if I buy something, unless it's like if I were to buy this Thompson Brothers, Ben Nevis. So
mhm,
A, the Thompson Brothers, I trust explicitly that it's going to be a good bottle of whiskey. Like
mhm,
I, I blind buy. I don't care what the distillery is. If they say it's good, I will believe them. Um, because our palates line up for a lot of things, and
yeah,
yeah,
they're just awesome.
I haven't been
They're also
disappointed.
just awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
They're so
But
good.
if if I buy this bottle, this 52-year-old Ben Nevis from them, favorite distillery, favorite bottler, okay, it's a lower ABV, but it's like a favorite, casks are, can't remember these refill. Oh, it doesn't have their normal little thing on the back. I think these are refill hogsheads or something like that.
Mhm,
Um,
sounds right.
yeah,
I
don't
do
quote
have
me
a
on.
question for you just to touch upon something
Sure.
you just mentioned that, I hadn't thought about until now. Um, you would think you were talking about the some of the bottles you've had that you disliked. Have you put any thought into and I have not, so this is not any sort of
Mm,
a challenge or anything,
sure.
but have you thought at all about, like, if you buy a single cask you don't like, have you thought at all about, "Okay, well, that's just a single cask. Maybe I should exclude that from my math because
Sure.
that could just be a one-off bad cask. Maybe don't buy from that bottler." Versus, like, okay, an official bottling, this was specially designed to be this, and I don't like
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
That's more of a heavy weight in the math. Like,
Oh, 100%. Yeah, single casks, like, um one that'll probably make it into, uh, the next roundup video is that it's a Hart Brothers bottling of Dalmore, and it's
Mhm,
the cask I don't blame Dalmore for it being bad. Like, the cask was just it was like
mhm,
a sherry cooking wine cask or something. It was just terrible. It was, you know,
sure.
I would rather have a Dalmore 12 or something than this thing. It was just I couldn't believe someone would bottle it, and I think it was K&L exclusive bottling too, I think. I
Hmm.
might be wrong on that. I think it's a K&L exclusive, and usually they're at least fairly reliable.
So,
Um,
so
but
in your
yeah,
math, you already said it's Dalmore, but so is that anti-Dalmore, anti-Hart Brothers, or anti-K&L? Like, I
I've had Hart Brothers that I haven't had a Hart Brothers blow me away, but I've had other Hart Brothers that are good.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
they're not my they're not my go-to bottler. I probably won't buy a ton of them going forward because I haven't had one that's like, wow.
Sure.
Some of the ones I have on my shelf now, I think I have 2 Ben Rieks that are very heavily cask influenced. I think one's port and one's sherry, and they're pretty tasty. They completely cover up the Ben Riech, which I don't depending on your personal take on Ben Riech might be a good thing. And I have a Longmorn, like a
Mhm,
10-year-old Longmorn that was like the same exact color. I think must have bought it maybe at the same time as the Dalmore.
mhm.
And it's like the color of the whiskey is exactly the same. I'm like, "Oh, no, this isn't that same cask."
Type of case.
Um, but it's not it's by far not my favorite Longmorn, but it's perfectly fine drinkable whiskey.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
no, a single cask like that, it's more of a Hart Brothers thing for me at this point, because I know that that wasn't they didn't buy that cask off of Belmore's shelf. If they did, I'm sorry, but, I apologize, but I just can't I don't know what Belmore would be doing with that. So, where are they gonna
Yeah,
put that
for all the
whiskey?
things you can say about Dalmore, their casks are usually still pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, their whiskey, if anything, is inoffensive outside of maybe the heavy use of coloring.
Mhm.
So, this was I was offended by this particular bottle. Yeah, so to answer your question, will that affect my whiskey buying? Yes. If it's a bottle of Dalmore, so I was probably like, if it was a bottle of Feinlish, I would've been very angry because I would've
Yeah,
had high expectations for that.
yeah.
Dalmore is more of a curiosity. It was more like, "Oh, an independent, like, first fill sherry, quote, unquote, um, Dalmore from an independent bottler." I'll and it wasn't even expensive. It was like 60 or $70, I think.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was more of a shot in the dark, and it was a the dart got thrown back in my eyeball.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah, you hit
it,
yourself somehow. Yeah.
yeah, so I don't know who to blame for it. It's just one of those things I chalk up to bad bad luck. I've had pretty good luck, so I don't I don't get too mad.
Yeah, fair enough.
But
Awesome.
but yeah, like I said, I was mad about that bottle, but again, I also every time I poured a glass of it, I'm thinking about it. Like, I might think up harder about that, a bad whiskey, than I do about a good one because I'm like, "What made this taste so horrible?"
Yeah, yeah. What
Because I'm a very forgiving whiskey drinker. There are very few bottles of whiskey that I'm like I think where I get to the point where I think that it's, like, quote, unquote, "objectively bad,"
mhm.
where it's like, it's not a matter of preference, I think there's something wrong with it,
Yeah.
you know? So and even then, I stopped 'cause I think I put it in a blind and you were like, "Oh, this is fine," you know?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like
I remember I did not hate it nearly as much as you did.
I was like, "No, it's not." What's wrong with you? Uh,
Yeah, I don't know.
it was one of the times I just interrupted the blind. I'm like, I can't sit here and listen to this." So, um, but yeah, it's alright.
Oh,
So
geez. Good times.
how's the, Thompson Brothers tasting? Because we might wanna move on to
That's
the Ben
glorious. It's glorious, but yeah, I'm on my final sips here. Guess
Alright, one
we'll
more, and you wanna take a dip your toe into the Ben Nevis here?
yeah, I've been looking forward to it. Absolutely.
Alright, one more. Cheers.
Cheers. Mm.
All right.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, there was a sip there when you were talking. I took a sip and I must have just been like the right size. Because again, sometimes with like the lower ABVs, you're tempted to take a bigger sip to get
Mm.
more flavor. And I do actually think it helps, but then when you're drinking 40 or plus year old whiskey, you don't want to be gulping it down. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
be a little precious with it. But yeah, there was one sip that must have been a little bit bigger sip that I was like, oh, well, there it is. That's good. Um,
Mhm.
all right. So neither of us have come anywhere close to a 52-year-old age stated whiskey before.
No, the closest I've been is the 40-year-old we just drank, so
40. Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to remember if there was some blend or something that somebody had. I don't think so. But yeah, 52 52 years old is wild. Um it was probably something I never really thought, especially a single malt from one of my favorite distilleries. That's just not a thing that I ever thought I was gonna taste at this point in in history
yeah.
with the way, age statements are, you know, pumped up in price and
Valued
marketing
in
and
price,
all
yeah.
that stuff, yeah. But the fact that the Thompson Brothers just went they put it in a green bottle, it's like you almost expect, like, the top to be sticking out of a paper bag with, like,
Yeah, whatever they have laying around.
yeah, some guy sitting on the curb, drinking out of a paper bag sort of thing. It's just like
Mhm.
and then but yet they got the old school, like, Scott label on it and everything. It's
Yeah,
just
the nostalgic
it's the opposite of everything that,
goes on
like,
today.
these
Yeah.
other companies are gonna do when if
Mhm.
they had this sort of thing. So, um, but yeah, I mean, expectations before we take a sip here of again, I think we've kinda gone over a couple 1973, 52 years old, 40.1%. We believe that these are 2 refill barrels, but I don't recall. I was gonna look it up, but it's not important, you can easily find that information online if you're super curious.
Mhm.
But, like, what are your expectations for this? We've been talking about kind of expectations. Are you
Yeah,
really hoping that this is just, "My god, this is good," or are your expectations, like, open to
there's
interpretation?
there's maybe a level of tempered like, like, if it's in the neighborhood of that of the 40-year-old, I'll be pretty happy, in terms of just, like, a quality. Hopefully, it doesn't taste the same, but,
Yeah, it doesn't,
just
but yeah.
because of, like, the story behind this is, like, well, they recently bought this from Ben Nevis. That's because the casks were too low, or one of them was,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, if Ben Nevis is willing to just sell them these casks, maybe they're not epic, epic, epic. Because if they were
Mhm.
if they were epic, Ben
Sure.
Nevis would probably do something with them maybe. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, this is new territory in terms of an expectations, kind of the old books thing you get on a lot of old scotches, but other than that, I got this is just kind of a breaking new ground for sure.
Cool. Yeah, this is definitely one that once the bottle was purchased, it was like, "Well, it's gonna be what it's gonna be." So,
Mhm.
it's not like, "Well, I'll never buy one of those again." Like, "Well, I probably never gonna have the option to." But
Yeah,
it's,
to buy 52-year-old single malt for less than $1,000. Yeah,
yeah.
pretty good.
Alright. Well, let's not try to get lost for 20 minutes in the nose and all that, but, get some initial impressions. Here we go.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Yeah, a bit more of a density on the nose.
Yeah, I think the bulb glass stuff definitely does
Yeah.
turn the volume up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Mm,
So it smells old. Like, it just kinda has that it just smells
yeah.
like you'd think it would.
It has that
It
element to it.
it's
There's
dusty and
definitely, I
damp,
think, more of an oak here than there is on the 40. Um,
more distinguishable, yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but not overly so. the part of the
No,
picture.
it doesn't come off as like a tannic or anything.
Man,
Yeah, it smells like old wood. There's a little bit of like faded varnish still on it. It's
yeah,
the Ben Nevis fruitiness is in there too, but again, it's certainly wouldn't call it like bright and fresh on the nose by any
yeah.
stretch.
It's a bit more tempered here, whereas before the last one was it was overripe. This one is
Yeah,
just a bit more.
more about fruit oil,
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, a little more. It's denser, less sweet.
yeah. A little bit of a tobacco box,
Yeah, there's definitely just the
cigar
box and
box.
the tobacco. Yeah.
Mhm. Cigar wrapper even a little bit.
Mhm. Sure. It's got a there's almost like a little bit of a rum esteriness in there, like a
Mm,
it's subtle, but yeah, there's a little bit of just that kind of not funky rum, not super funky, but a pretty identifiable like estery type rum quality
yeah.
that especially when you get like rum aged whiskey where it's turned down, the volume's turned down quite a bit. There's a little bit of that in there.
Mm.
All right. Well, unless you
Alright,
got
yeah, and
any
yeah, we
great
could go on
revelation.
for 20 minutes for sure.
Yeah,
Talking
we're
about that.
let's take a sip and see what we find. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
I mean, that's pretty incredible.
That's
It's very soft on the back end, but the
mm, yeah.
I didn't want it. It's one where you almost don't want to swallow. You just want to keep chewing on it. But it's 40%. You don't want to over dilute it too much. But that Ben
Yeah,
Nevis fruit is alive and well.
I mean, there's just a sensation experience here where it just kinda takes over your like, you're not even thinking about notes really, you're just kind of enjoying it for what it is,
Yeah,
that sort of first experience.
yeah. It's
Mm,
and now that it's fading, like the wood is coming out. Like there is
yeah,
like a woody tannic kind of aftertaste. Like even on like the tongue, it's not even all the way in the back of the throat. Like sometimes it shows up for me, but
yeah, there's that, and then there's some, like, almost like cocoa butter that's kind of hanging around.
hmm,
Mm,
yeah, buttery. I think is a good.
that was a wild that was
Yeah, the fruit dies off pretty quick, and you're left with kind of the woody, buttery, hmm, maybe a little pithy, like citrus, like a touch of
sure.
citrus pith. Again, all very subdued and even
Yeah,
and layered, but still pretty
but
flavorful.
even now, like, there's this the butter is a butteriness that's like the last clinging note. It's like this
Mm.
oiliness, buttery thing in my mouth. Yeah,
Nose wise, I think there's more
that's
like orange.
wild, although, again, I think this would be hard to drink with with anything else almost.
Yeah, this would
It feels so delicate.
it'd get run over pretty fast. The more you chew on it, I think the oakiness comes out on the front.
Yeah,
But man, the Ben Nevis character is there,
it's
and
somehow. So I have no idea how, but it's there.
it's it's cool to see like a note that we find in our 96 Ben Nevis, editions that we've had. Something pretty similar to that. It's that. It might be a little different, but it
Yeah,
is that. And something that was distilled,
it's
23 years prior to that.
yeah, it's born out of the same thing.
Yeah, it's still Ben Nevis, which I think
Mhm.
is cool. Um,
Yeah, after 50 plus years, I don't know how that even happens, but
yeah, there's I think a little more leather, a little less oak, maybe a little more leather on that second sip.
sure.
It's not getting quite as well.
I get a
It
little
comes
more
in like
tobacco. I get a little
comes
more
in like
tobacco on the front too.
yeah. I mean, when you said that, I think I got a little bit more kind of cigar-y type spice on the more on the kind of finish part of it. on the back half of my palate.
Mhm.
A little more spice coming out, not just kind of tannic wood. Although I don't mind, I I like oaky bourbons and that sort of thing. So I'm not saying those things as a negative. I enjoy them. So
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I do too to a degree. I think you like oak a little bit more than I do, but it's perfect here. It is a
yeah,
absolutely A plus note on this one.
man,
Yeah,
that's
that's
tasty. It's again, would you now this is one of those things where you want to talk about like value and worth. So you paid, $450 or whatever for your half of the bottle. It's kind of hard to quantify whether this is quote unquote worth it because that's what people want to know. Is it worth it? I don't I don't know if I've ever been able to really answer that question because value is so subjective
yeah,
and what are you looking for what are you looking to get out of it is really the question. If you're going to pay that much money, what do you want?
yeah. So I mean, assuming it's within your means, let's just start there. Like if you're struggling to buy it, don't.
Sure.
um, but if you can comfortably afford it, and you're experienced enough to know the ins and outs of sort of the Scotch whiskey world,
You know
but
why
you don't
you
think you're
want
ever going to get this far. This that's pretty damn good.
yeah,
Like
this is
this might be like the time to do it if you're ever thinking about wanting to do it.
it's a thought that I've been kind of working through my brain lately because I've always wanted to get more into I guess I don't know if opinion pieces or anything is really what I'm saying, but like to tackle some more prickly topics and that sort of thing. And again, not to be preachy or anything like that, more of a to try to have a discussion. I'm like, well, maybe I should just wait for doing live streams and things like that. Maybe it's a better place to do those. But there's a thing you always see posted like on whiskey forums or subreddits or Facebook pages, what discords, whatever. Is this worth the money? Is this worth $100? Is this worth $200? Is could a whiskey ever be worth $10,000 a bottle? And I've been trying to think of like a good way to answer that, and it's difficult because I think the best way fig- uh, it seems like the best way to answer it sounds snobby, but it's like if you have to ask if it's worth it, then don't buy it. And the meaning behind that is if you don't know why you're paying for it, why you're paying that price, if it's not clear to you what you're getting back for your money,
Yeah,
then I can't tell you what those things are because I can't. I don't know if they're important to you or not.
exactly. Yeah,
So
no, I think
when
you're spot on.
this bottle
Um,
came out, when it just yeah, I'll just wrap this up real quick and I'll give you the floor. But when this came up, there was no question. Like
mhm.
especially now, $1,000 a bottle is like I don't know if I should do that. But when it was like, hey, I'll pay. We'll split it. It was like I know exactly why I'm paying for what I'm paying. I don't know how the whiskey tastes. No idea.
Mhm.
It could I know the bottler, I know the distillery. I know why things from 1973 and aged for 50 plus years are expensive. Like
Yep.
and my expectations are fair going into it. I don't expect this to be the greatest thing I've ever tasted. That's okay if it's not. That's not what I'm hoping for. As we
Mhm.
said earlier, I'm hoping it hits something that makes me remember it.
Strikes the nerve. Yep.
But I knew exactly what I was buying. I didn't have to ask anyone else if they thought it was worth it. I was like, yeah, half a bottle, I can be in for that. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'll give you the floor. Um, as to your thoughts on that.
Yeah, and when you sent me that was an option, uh, my immediate first I was gauging to see if you just said you were going to buy it because I didn't want to like impede on it. But as soon as it was like a question, I'm like, I'll buy half of it
Yeah,
immediately,
yeah,
and then it was done.
yeah.
That was a deal. But yeah, so like especially if if you're involved enough in the scene to know that the bottle even exists,
Sure.
um, you have you've already formed whatever your values or limits or your whiskey morals, so to speak. You've formed those if by then.
Yeah.
So like if you're never going to spend more than X amount of pounds on a bottle. If you know what your limits are. You know what your budget is. For anybody else to tell you if it's worth it or not. Like, okay, yeah, sure, watch the review, and if they tell you it's bad, okay, that's one thing. But if there's any other question,
But we know but we also know that not all the reviews for this bottle were glowing. Like
this
we're
is true.
aware of it.
Yeah, no, I definitely sent you one before I even tasted it.
So it's a matter of perspective, and it's like,
Mhm.
you have to know, again, you have to know what you're getting and be
Yeah,
comfortable with it.
no YouTuber or reviewer is going to know what your conditions, experience, expectations there's just too many variables for anybody else to tell you what it is or is not worth
Yeah.
it.
The best we can do, and I do this at the end of my videos, is to try to say, okay, do I think this particular bottle is a good value? But those usually aren't $400 or $500,
Yeah,
right?
those are
Usually,
bottles everyone can find, or
you,
they're examples of bottles people may find similar versions of.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Generally, there haven't been too many that have crossed that $150 barrier.
yeah,
There's been a couple, but yeah, it's
yeah. Those examples we just gave are talking about things like this, where it's this pseudo extravagant type of a purchase. Um,
well, but even if it's $100, again, like, look, yes, at some point you have to take a plunge sometimes, but like, are you comfortable with being disappointed? Or to not
sure.
being ready or something? Maybe in 6 months or a year, you just tuck it in the back. That's always my advice. If you don't like it right away, just tuck it into the back of your cabinet. Forget about it for 6 months or a year
Yeah,
and come
it
back.
will change, and so will you. So
Yeah,
by the
exactly.
time you come back to it, you'll both be different.
But yeah, a lot of it is, if it's disappointing, how much is that gonna hurt?
Yeah,
Like, that's another way to look at it. Like, if
very
this
true.
Ben Nevis was if it was disappointing, as long as it was disappointing in a weird way, I probably wouldn't even have been that upset. Like, it's
Mm,
just like, I would have been sad maybe, but, it might have,
yeah, even if
as
it's
we talk changed
yeah,
the math as we were talking about earlier, but
yeah, even
yeah,
if it's something that you can pull out for your buddies and be like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And
yeah,
that creates some sort of an experience
yeah,
for you
conversation.
guys. Like even that has value for sure.
Yeah, it's tough though when somebody says, and when you do the YouTube channel, that's why I don't like the review part of it. I like yapping about whiskey.
Mhm.
So, but man, I don't know if you're gonna like this or not. Like, like, I can give it what I think, and yeah, I guess if you watch enough of my videos, you'll figure out, kind of where my head is at and where my range and
What your palate
thing
is.
is. But like, if
Yep.
someone just clicks on a video and they've never heard of me before, I have no idea whether you're gonna agree or just hate my guts for making you spend money on something that you were never gonna like.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, that's all interesting topics, especially when you put yourself out there on the internet and other people are taking your opinion, into some sort of account for whether they should spend X amount of dollars or that sort of
Yep.
thing. So,
Yeah.
appreciate your input on those.
Yeah. Yeah. At least for um, stuff that you come across. Like you said, you can get to know the reviewer. You can understand who they are, what they like, what they don't like, that kind of a. But for stuff like this, there's
Yeah,
no way
I
to
can't.
understand
Yeah,
where anyone's coming from, reviewer or watcher. So it's real tough.
yeah, I would say, one of my notes app just started transcribing what we were saying. I need to stop it from doing that. Um, yeah, I mean, I can if you love Ben Nevis and you like, if you've had older Ben Nevis and you don't mind at least a little bit of oak on your 52-year-old whiskey, which I'm hoping, if you're buying a 52-year-old whiskey of any sort, that you're expecting at least a touch of it. Um,
One would think. Yeah.
you probably like this. Now, is it going to be worth $1,000 a bottle to you? Again, I don't know. how willing are you to be disappointed?
Mhm.
I don't think you'll be, but it tastes pretty damn good to me. I don't
Absolutely.
regret buying it because it's a singular experience. It may be the only type of experience like this I'll ever have. I don't know. But yeah, it's it certainly is delicious tonight.
Yeah,
That's what
it's
I can say.
no regrets on this side. Absolutely not. Like I said, this you could nose this for an entire movie if
Hmm.
you wanted to. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you could.
Mm.
But again, kind of like if you put a lot of emphasis, like I had done a lot in my experience of like that big all the change and complexity kind of happening kind of loudly fireworky on like the back half of the palate. Yeah, this isn't going to do it for you. Right? This is like if you this goes down easy, it's oily and but yeah, you're not getting a Kentucky or Scottish hug out of this thing, you know. It's
Yeah, no.
if you're a proof if you're a proof fiend or an ABV fiend, then yeah, you're
It's
gonna
as
have
low as it
to
can get. So
you're gonna have to take maybe a week or two break and let your taste buds grow back, sort of thing. But even for us, I mean, we don't drink this though, so it is still very flavorful,
yeah, oh yeah, it is.
but certainly on the finish,
Yeah, it's
it's
soft.
not the loudest, right? It's
Yeah,
obviously going to be
definitely
soft.
back half is soft. It lingers. There's certainly notes that linger for a while,
Sure,
but yeah,
it does linger. You taste
you
it
got to
for a
be a
long
bit
time.
introspective about it.
Yeah, you kind of got even us talking about it is kind of probably ruining half the experience because we're not
Mm,
just sitting there quietly, kind of tasting it as it sits in there. But um,
yeah.
let's see. Is there any other? Well, I have more questions. So, would you recommend? Forget like price and is it something worth it, but somebody that's in it is coming into whiskey and maybe they've kind of got the bug and they're moving into they've got a dozen let's say they got 7 to 12 year old official bottlings, and maybe they got 2 or 3 official bottlings,
Mhm,
and they're going to ask you advice. Should I buy this 25-year-old whiskey for $300-400 or something?
mhm.
What's your advice to them from your experience?
So I've been looking forward to this one because I have some thoughts. Um, Now, obviously, it can depend potentially on the person, but and this also may be a something relating to a grass is greener on the other side
Mm,
scenario. But like I said, I think in hindsight, I went too fast. I got too big too quickly, and I didn't appreciate a lot of that sort of stuff you're supposed to getting into it and the
you don't know why it was
quality.
special.
The what?
You don't know why it was special, so like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was just like that was what whiskey was. So going back was
yeah,
just a
yeah.
part of
Going backwards to it, I think again you lose some of that wonderment that going back to the video game example, um, because what again maybe it'll still be good. You'll still appreciate it, but you won't get that novelty out of it. Like each step, you kind of get a new sense of novelty, but I don't think you can go back to get old senses of novelty.
it. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I would, if I were to do it again, I would take a lot more time in the 43% range, in the 12, 10s, 13s, and slowly move up. Because I
Drag the
think
experience
every
out a little bit.
step you get, you'll get a brand new brick to build upon this wall of
So
appreciation.
so it's not that they can't enjoy it. You're
Correct.
just saying, and I kind of agree with you. You I can hand you a 20 if you've got your palate to the point of like you're not tasting the burn, you can tell the difference between this and that. I can give you a 25-year-old whiskey and you'll probably think it's pretty damn good.
Mhm.
But if you just but what you're saying is don't don't run to the end so fast.
Yeah, yeah.
Enjoy,
Don't run, don't sprint to the finish line. Enjoy the journey
yeah,
of working up
take your
to
time.
it.
It's not,
That's
yeah, I can agree. It's not as fun going back and filling in the gaps. It would have been
Mhm,
much more fun and enjoyable if I didn't get so wrapped up. And yeah, you're probably right. You mentioned it. I became really geeky about this like maybe 6 months or something, 6 8 months before COVID happened. There's a long tail of like trying to like whiskey and then kind of liking whiskey, and then it was like October of 2019 or something. I was like, I caught the bug.
mhm.
But so most of my whiskey life is, or the foundation of it was that time too. And there was just fervor over everything, right? Everybody's just, you have time and expendable resources and things, depending on your scenario, of course. Obviously, not everybody did at that point. I was fortunate enough where
Yeah.
not going out to eat gave me extra money. Um, but yeah, where you get caught up and you just skip over a big chunk of the experience. I think you'll probably enjoy the high age statements more when you get to them if you spend more time. Because you'll know why they're different and special, or why they're not,
Yeah,
why they're
exactly.
disappointing.
You'll have a bigger base of
Value,
expectations
really,
sort of
yeah,
built up.
yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, the best advice is to find a group of friends who have a lot better whiskey collection than you. That's kind of what I did in Denver. Is meet a couple people that
I
I thought I had a lot of whiskey, and then I was like,
I would
oh,
say it's ideal to find several friends who are at the same place as you and are willing to get into it at the same time.
oh, well, no, yes, that is the correct,
That
yes.
would be ideal, but
But you
but
but you
yes,
need
yeah.
you need one
If
or two. If you have one or two friends that can kinda are cool with hanging out with you guys and then pull you along a little bit, that's
yeah.
that's kinda what I mean. There was one or two people that are like, "Oh, you guys have never tried Brora before? Let me go get a bottle of the 37." "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
"Bring the
Yeah.
Kleenexes, please."
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, cool. No, that makes a lot of sense. I think that's probably good. It's practical advice.
Mm,
Now, if I were to go back and tell 2021 me, hey, take it easy, I'd be like, shut your mouth, old man. You know,
yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I
What are you,
probably
40?
wouldn't listen to myself. So yeah,
Yeah,
you've aged
some
horribly.
people are gonna do what they're gonna do, but
Yeah. So generally speaking, and this is a question that gets asked a lot, and we're kind of going to be wrapping things up. We're coming up on hour 45 or so here. Um, this gets asked a lot. In addition to, is it worth it? Is older whiskey better? There's a there is a script you are supposed to say. We all
Mhm,
probably know it. I heard it with the Whiskey Vault Whiskey Tribe. Older whiskey isn't better; it's different, and that's a really good way to approach things. And
yeah,
usually, yes, that is probably actually true, kind of. But I wanted to ask you, as someone who moved too fast
mhm,
and has maybe had to kind of go back and catch
mhm.
up, is higher age statement whiskey better than younger? Whatever your line is for older.
Yeah, so as a general rule, yes, but the way it's kind of in my mind is, you know, I kind of almost look at it as meals. Old whiskey is going to typically be something akin to like, a $200 or $300 steak dinner. Do I want to go have a $200 or $300 steak dinner at noon on Wednesday? Like, no, like in in,
Well, you
in
might
that sort
want
of
to.
a,
It's just practically
but it,
not. Yeah.
but in the average
Um,
person's life, is that something that they would really want to do within like their routine? Like,
to
no,
the
like
to a regular
Like, there
person.
are some nights I just want a cheeseburger. So there are
Oh yeah,
some
yeah.
nights I just want, a Glencairn 10 because it's tasty, it's easy, don't have to think about it. Maybe I'm gonna be watching a movie, whatever. So it's
Yeah.
it's better in terms of like a pure one-to-one comparison quality a good chunk of the time. But if I'm, again, it depends on what I'm doing, that it's not better for that moment a lot of the time. So there's definitely times and places where just because it's quote unquote better doesn't mean it fits the moment.
Right.
So
I think,
that's kind of how I look at it.
yeah, I think that kind of feeds into another kind of topic. I think I've mentioned this on videos or kind of randomly, but sometimes when I say my favorite whiskey, I don't mean the best whiskey. I don't mean the one that I think is 10 out of 10
Mhm.
or 9 out of 10. My favorite whiskey is the one I just enjoy drinking.
Yep.
And it's, yeah, I'm probably more, my favorite whiskey will probably never be a 40 or 50-year-old whiskey. It might be the best, but it's not
Yeah.
gonna be my favorite because like pouring it is too, like there's a cost to it almost,
So it's
right?
almost intimidating to pour it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just like I
You feel bad pouring it.
yeah, if I don't get everything I can out of it, I feel like I'm wasting it. Where one of my favorite whiskeys ever is Kilkerran 857.1, right? A somewhat legendary modern bottle and single digit age statement. And I still I have backups of it in my bunker. I think about I want to open one all the time. But I'm like,
Mhm.
no, I got like other Kilkerran eights that I want to drink those first and get to come back to one of my favorite whiskeys maybe a little further down the line.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
yeah, I mean, my
Love
whiskey of
that.
the year last year was non-age statement, Lefroy Carchus, one of my favorite whiskeys to drink. This year was 9-year-old Ben Romick, um, uh, vintage cast strength. Those are my favorite whiskeys because I can just drink them and they're really good and there's complexity and they tend to be higher ABV and they're just, I just really like drinking them. But they're
Yeah.
not, none of those are old. They're all
They're tasty. They're
single digit
delicious.
age statement or non age statement.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah. There's definitely a place for all of it. So, um,
yeah.
better doesn't. Yeah. Yeah.
But
There's nuance to it as there are in most things. Absolutely.
but the whiskeys that have stopped me like legitimately in my tracks, like what's that? What's happening?
Mhm.
Tend to almost always be 20,
20,
25
20 plus.
plus years
Yeah.
old, right? They're the ones that are like, wait, what's happening? Why is there the ones that have made me cry are 20 years or older? Right? So,
Mhm.
where there's a tear literally comes out of your eyeball. It's happened to me like two times, maybe two or three times,
Yeah.
where it's just like, oh my God, what's going on?
Mhm.
This is making me feel things for some reason. I don't know why. Um, so
Good stuff.
those are higher. So I think there's a higher ceiling there for sure. But I've also had 27-year-old whiskeys. That's why I avoid finished whiskeys that are 20 plus years old that have been finished. It's not that they're bad. It's just
But
I'm not gonna get the thing that
there's
makes it.
probably a reason that they were finished, right?
Well, there's either a reason they were finished or you had somebody who just wanted a darker whiskey or something so they
Sure.
could charge more for it. Because I mean, finishing a whiskey costs more money. So yeah, I stay away from if it's finished and over 20 years old. I probably won't be buying it in most cases,
Same.
unless I'm on good authority that it's amazing.
Yeah.
But um, let's see. Okay, maybe one last question. Maybe we'll do a little rambling at the end. We talked a lot about blinds.
That's it.
We do a lot of blinds. It's been a pretty big basis for both of our whiskey journeys. You've definitely always had a bit of a hint of romance about the idea of blind tastings and things. Would you
Absolutely.
say have blind tastings impacted your view of H statements? Because we have sent each other some pretty highly high age stated things. How would you recommend take those experiences versus maybe has it kept your mind open or has it solidified your love of
Well,
high
it's
age?
definitely. I would definitely say it's kept my mind open. Um, just because you're always kind of humbled, whether you're like rating them or comparing them or whatever it is you're doing with them.
Sure.
You can always be surprised. No, I would say it has helped me get better in sort of identifying things that may be older versus things that are not. But yeah, no, it's definitely kept me an open mind. There's definitely been less than 10-year-old stuff that has come off to me as older, and there's been vice versa. So it's very much a constant reinforcer that things are not black and white pretty much ever in whiskey, because whiskey is just nature, and nature will do what nature will do. Um, so yeah, I would say it's definitely sort of kept me grounded in terms of just going off on, older is always better. It's absolutely kept me grounded. How about you?
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. I mean, I think I always say that, blind tastings are great, and they keep you grounded. They make you they stop you from making like ultimate statements a lot. But I will also say that the vast majority of whiskey that we drink, we know exactly what's in the glass. And if you've paid money for it, then be as biased as you possibly can. Get every get every piece
Yeah.
of enjoyment that you can. Use blinds to, like you said, keep yourself grounded, keep your mind open. But at the end of the day, the vast majority of the time, you're going to know what's in your glass. And there's certain bottles that I have, the more expensive it is, the more I'm leaning into bias because I want to get the most I can out of it. And if I need to put romance and, just ideas think about, oh, what was I doing 25 years ago or whatever, or
Yeah.
this was distilled the year I was born or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever I can get out of those bottles, I'm going to take it. But blinds do
Another
keep you.
great thing about blinds is it does remove your expectations. So there have been whiskeys that I have sort of come out and said I'm either not high on them or maybe I actually dislike it, but then you send it to me and it comes off a lot better because I'm not going into it thinking I'm not going to enjoy this. So it's a pure
Yeah,
blank. So
yeah.
that's another way it helps.
Yeah, it's if it is truly blind and we haven't tipped our hand too much, it's which we try not to do, but we to try to coordinate blinds and stuff, we kind of do give each other at least a a hint of information
Mhm.
just to keep make sure we aren't both doing like 62% plus blinds in the same
Yeah,
night or something
try
like
to
that.
keep
So
it balanced in terms of ABV and
yeah,
stuff.
'cause otherwise you're like just putting a few drops in your mouth at a time and trying to like but need to like wake up tomorrow. But
Absolutely.
um well, I mean, you saw the question. I think we got through most of like the general topics I had sent over to you. Is there anything I did miss or anything that you were like, "Oh, I want to answer that I didn't," or that
Um, no, I think everything that I was sort of wanted to get to, I believe we got to.
okay.
Um, yeah, no, I think we kind of covered the plan.
Yeah,
What we were going to talk about.
I'm pretty satisfied. I think we had some extra drams lined up in case we had time. I guess that was probably foolish to think that
Yeah.
we'd have any extra time at the end. We're just going to get in just under the line here at 2 hours. So, um, yeah, this is one of the more interesting topics. It's one of the more divisive ones because I think it's a lot easier to like high age stated whiskeys if you have some degree of access to them,
Yeah.
and you can if you can't justify it or you just can't, um it feels good to know that you don't have to worry about it that much, but you do find some pretty wild flavors and fun flavors, especially when you've been doing it for a while. I think that's
Mhm.
kind of what we're meaning. Roy, you mentioned Roy Aquavite. He does the V Pub pretty much every Thursday. There was an older one that he did uh back in kind of COVID times that I still remember, and it was the flavor chase, I think he called it. And I still think about that episode and just you get to that point where the most excitement comes from just tasting something new.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, I've never tasted that before. And that's what's going to get you, it's going to
Mhm.
wake you up because you do kind of get to a point where sometimes, like, I found something new. And then 2 years later, I realized it wasn't really that unique. It was just my first time encountering it.
Yeah, it was new to you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was, like, super excited. I'm like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this is, like, the best bottle of whiskey I've ever had." And it's like, "Oh, this there's, like, 8 other distilleries that are known for this specific flavor profile." Right? I don't have to be like that, like, intense on it. And then, but yeah, eventually you kinda figure that out that there aren't that many unique flavors out there, and you have to get into casks and things, and then you're kinda gambling a little bit on the cask and who bottled it and that sort of thing, as we talked about before. But
Sure.
higher age statements can kinda be a refuge where you're I fear the day where 20 plus year old whiskey is meh to me. I hope that I pray, because I don't
Yeah,
know what I'm
we'll
gonna do.
we'll work to make sure that does not happen, but
I have to switch to
yeah, like,
tequila or
I
something,
don't
but yeah.
flavor tasting, it's why, last year went on that new distillery kick, I bought a McNee and I bought a Lindor's, I bought
Mhm.
a Rasai, just trying all the new distilleries just to try to find what was working for me and what wasn't. So that definitely wraps into that, I think.
Cool. Well, we're just getting started, as sometimes it feels, it does feel like, I heard we mentioned Ralph earlier. I think it was him that kinda I remember watching him maybe a year or 2 into me, like, being, like, all in on the whiskey thing, and his timeline for becoming, like, a whiskey enthusiast, and, like, okay, a year or 2, you're just getting your feet under you, and after 5 or 6 years, you'll kinda have a vague idea of what you're doing, and then, 10, 12 years, and, you'll have a solid understanding or something. I was like, "What are you talking about? I've got a solid understanding right now. I've gone I haven't left my house in 2 years," sort of thing, right? Like, I wouldn't, other than to go to, like, the whiskey shops.
Yeah,
But,
right.
like, looking back at it now, it's like, "Oh, yeah, I am kinda just getting the lay of the land." I just kinda, again, feeding into that new game plus, right? I've glimpsed most of the corners of the whiskey world that I'm interested in, at least at this point, but I'm kinda gonna go back and take a closer look, and, maybe at that'll be another 5 or 6 years, and that's gonna put me, okay, I'll have a basic understanding of what I'm doing when
You'll be
at
right on the timeline.
10, 12 years. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's been fun, and, getting to try stuff like this. Obviously, we're incredibly fortunate
Mhm.
to, to be able to even taste this stuff, even though, you know, we do spend a lot of time looking at other stuff we'd love to have that we can
Yeah,
never possibly
we won't.
justify.
Yeah,
But
we never will, but
so I'm gonna nurse the heck out of this half bottle of Ben Nevis. I don't know how long it's I'm gonna have to decant it into a smaller bottle and hide it probably, because it drinks so good.
yeah, it's gonna be a special one for sure. So yeah, definitely glad we were able to pull that off. And
But yeah, I guess with that, if you've made it this far listening to us ramble about this stuff and this is interesting to you at all, whether you might completely disagree with us, that's okay. Um, we are not trying to preach. We're interested in perspectives here, because we are still learning, as we've been kind of trying to, communicate out there. So don't be afraid to let us know, what your experience with higher age statements are. Where do you find the best value when we're, especially kind of maybe at that higher end, like, where, if you are gonna spend a little bit extra money, where do you tend to look? That'll be really helpful for people, I think.
yeah,
Um,
and also let us know about any bottles that have subverted your expectations based on age. Anything young that came off way older, or if anything old is not that interesting, let us know.
yeah, yeah, that's always interesting too, because I would say one struggle we've had during blinds is the thing we get wrong. We might get the distillery right, but, like, we get age maybe wrong more than I just stopped even trying to like, I might be, like, now maybe I could, but there was, like, a period there, like, 2 or 3 years ago, where I used to try to, like, test myself to see if I could figure out what it was, and If I said it was young, it was old, and if I said it was old, it was young, like, every single time. So I just stopped, and maybe I could do it now, but I'm not gonna test myself. I'm not gonna
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
I just let it be. It's blind. I don't know. I don't know
Definitely
anything.
whiff more often than we hit. I'd say that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Although a profile, I think sometimes this kinda seems like this distillery, but oh, okay, it's that
Yeah.
distillery. I wasn't, like, that far off, but
Sure. Yeah.
but yeah, we do get it hilariously wrong sometimes, and once in a while, we'll hit it on the head, but well, Springbank, we, like, call out
Yeah.
every single time, right?
Springbank's hard to miss.
Yeah,
A good
Springbank is
one.
like, "That's Springbank." Maybe it's Kilkerran.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's just older Springbank, okay. Um,
Yeah.
but, all right, well, we'll wrap up. Thank you if you stuck around this long, 2 hours listening to 2
And thanks
2
again
maybe
for having me back on. I appreciate it. It's always a blast.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, it's always good to sit down and like I said, I like to yap. I don't and it's
Yeah,
good
that'd
when
be
I
great.
have, like, a list of questions that I can kinda throw out there and I'm not just, like, completely running wild. You can see how many different tangents we almost went down, but yeah, thank you everyone for sticking around. If you made it to the end, uh, give us a like, a sub. And we'll try to do more of these if we can. If we have a good idea of or a reason to do it. It's
Yeah.
usually the impetus for us recording them, but,
Or if you're
uh
still listening, if there's something you want us to talk about, let us know.
yeah, yeah, if you're like, "Oh, these guys completely just embarrassed themselves about this," like, throw us another topic that we can make a fool of ourselves on if you want, but, anyways, we're all in fun. Thanks, Kevin, for joining, and, to everyone listening, thanks for tuning in, and, hopefully we'll talk to you again soon. Cheers.
Thanks.